Hello everyone, SnakeEyes3434 here, and welcome to episode 1 of my DC Universe Online Power Guide. Today we'll be looking at the Lightning class, which is part of the DLC Lightning Strikes. The two roles they can play as are the DPS and Healer, so let's get started. Let's look at the first power tree, Voltage, which will contain most of your damage dealing powers. The first power is Tesla Blast, which stuns enemies with a bolt of electricity. Next is Bioelectric Surge, which will instantly restore health to you and a fellow comrade. Next is Electro Genesis, which depending on your role, will either damage two enemies or heal you and one other group member. Ionic Drain drains energy from the environment and replenishes your energy. Wired will increase weapon attack damage to you and your allies. Megavolt is a 100% charge and will cause a large explosion when released. Shockwave shoots several electrical bolts at the target. Electrical Burst releases a wave of energy that knocks down enemies in a radius. Arc Lightning shoots a single bolt but then can jump to multiple targets. Tesla Ball will create a sphere that stuns enemies in its path. And last of all, Group Transducer, which is a 50% charge and will shield you and your allies from projectiles. Now let's look at the second tree, Amperage. This is where you'll be getting most of your healing powers. The first power is Repulse, which lifts an enemy up in the air and repels them away from you. Next is Spark Barrage, which unleashes 5 projectiles at an enemy. Flux encases you in a protective bubble and protects you from attacks. Next is Static Push, which forces enemies and objects away from you. Our first supercharge is Invigorate, which is a 50% charge and restores health to you and your allies. Attract will damage and pull enemies towards you. Electrostatic Bomb tosses an electrical grenade that pulls enemies into the point of impact. Next is Electrocute, which creates a field to damage enemies. Overcharge strikes enemies with a big blast that adds more attacks until they explode. Our next supercharge is a 100% charge and creates a localized burst of energy that damages nearby enemies. Next is Biocapacitor, which instantly restores health to the most injured groupmate and yourself. Last is Galvanize, which creates a wave to heal yourself and all allies within range. Now let's move on to the power loadouts. Choosing which power to use can be difficult, since you can only use 6 powers at a time. Note these loadouts work well for me, but they might not work for you, so change the settings to fit your playstyle. Also, these loadouts will take powers from both trees, so don't feel like you have to stay with only one tree. Let's look at the healer role first. In my first slot, I have Ionic Drain, because it's an offensive and healing power at the same time, because I can heal my friends while dealing damage to the enemy. Next is Galvanize. It is a quick heal power, so I'll be using it a lot. Biocapacitor is next. In addition to healing, it heals NPCs as well, so if you're doing a defensive mission, it will come in handy. Fourth slot is Electro Genesis, which will shield you and another ally, so it's good to use it on a tank in a raid. Fifth slot is Invigorate, which I can use in emergency situations, where the group is below 50% health. And it also gives power to your allies, so you can help your fellow controllers out. The last slot is Group Transducer, which is like Electro Genesis, but shields your party members as well. Now let's move on to what most of you have been waiting for, the DPS, or damage per second. My first slot is Arc Lightning. Even though it hits only one target, it will jump to other targets as well. My second slot is Wired, which will grant your allies increased weapon damage, so it's good to have it in a raid. My third slot is Tesla Ball, and my fourth is Electrostatic Bomb, which is a great DPS power because it has a great area effect radius, and also Electrocute, which is in my fifth slot. Sixth slot is up to you. I like using a charge ability, either using Group Transducer, Megavolt, or Circuit Breaker. Well, I hope you found this helpful, and if you like it or have any suggestions, post them in the comments below, and I'll see you later, guys.